Okay. I cannot get a live video going. There's no timer coming up here. Oh, now I'm live. Okay. I'm just waiting for anybody to come in to see if this feed is any good because we're having technical difficulties. So if you come in and let me know, I can get into the content of the video. I've got a lot of requests. Okay, hi Rochelle. Can you hear everybody good? I've got a lot of requests to speak today on the leaks. And none of these leaks reveal anything that we don't already know. Donald Trump is a misogynist pig, and Hillary Clinton is a hypocritical, manipulative liar. And neither one of these individuals should be considered viable for the presidency. And so I'm watching, of course, the corporate media is desperately trying to totally make everything coming out today be about the Donald Trump offensive statement that he made. And let's just get this over with right off the bat. And then we're going to talk about the hypocrisy and about how the fact is this is really about the American people putting up with this. Neither one of these people should be anywhere near the presidency. They shouldn't be anywhere near dog catcher. But we have just accepted as the American people, well, the government's corrupt. We just accept corruption. We just accept wars of choice on lies. We just accept Wall Street treating our economy as a gambling casino. We just accept that our politicians will lie and manipulate us. And then we have this ridiculous, ludicrous, insane, circular discussion about which one is worse. Which one's worse? I'm so done with it. I'm so done with being codependent enablers to evil. We didn't even have a real election. Hillary Clinton shouldn't even be the primary nominee. She was fraudulently installed. And I want to talk about something that came out today because we don't have real conversations around politics. We have this ludicrous back and forth between which one is which obscene, illegitimate, fraudulent, narcissistic, choice, predetermined choice, we are going to gag down our throats. And that passes for political discussion. And I'm sorry, anybody who is getting sucked into that dialogue is involved in a collective American circle jerk. I'm done. This has been so ludicrous and so obscene for so long. How long are we going to play this game? These leaks didn't reveal anything that we already didn't know. We already knew. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm just so frustrated. Okay. So Donald Trump came out. This is all you're going to hear. They're saying he should drop out of the presidential race for this. And this is his big comment. There was a tape that was dug up. And Donald Trump told Bush, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. It's vile. It's offensive. He's a misogynistic pig. Yeah? So what? Is this new? Is this new? Is this some kind of shock? We already know that this is how Donald Trump feels. You know, we have Bill Clinton and Donald Trump both being friends with Jeffrey Epstein, the owner of the Lolita Express, both flying around on that plane, which is notorious for having underage girls where powerful men can have sex. Okay? Bill Clinton rides around that. Her husband, Hillary Clinton, stays married to him. You know? They have sick sexual machinations. We know this. This is a big shock. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the reality of the sexual deviance of powerful men. Yeah, it's disturbing. It's sick. But I can't even do this. Hillary Clinton has supported policies, wars of choice that have driven women and children into the sex trafficking trade. Supports wars on lies, stands with arming authoritarian regimes for bribes in Saudi Arabia, where the worst authoritarian regimes and human rights abusers of women on the planet. And they funnel money into her Clinton Foundation, and she gives them record-breaking arms deals. She empowers regimes that do horrible, atrocious, awful things to women. So, again, goes back to my original point. Yeah, Trump vile a statement on how he individually can behave. Hillary Clinton, arms dealer to authoritarian regimes who are the worst human rights abusers on the planet in return for bribes to the Clinton Foundation. And the media is going to go back and forth on the same pathetic discussion, that non-discussion that we always have. And the majority of the American people, including progressives, there's only a handful of people who are having the real conversations. I don't even know what to say anymore. Our country, it appears our country is going to have to collapse completely before the American people get it. Because neither one of these presidential choices, and they're not a choice, Hillary Clinton, as we know, is going to be installed per the directive of the neoconservative war hawks and neo-liberal fascists alike, who need a Hillary Clinton in the presidency so they can continue to push policy down the American people's throats that Donald Trump wouldn't be able to do. The only thing they're concerned about, the real power players behind the scenes who do all this, is who's going to be able to get the American people to support being oppressed, being screwed over, have America to be turned into a third world country, constantly be an unethical, monstrous, murderous empire where we are now the ones that the rest of the globe fear as we go around to create a new world order, to expand empire. But apparently, the American people aren't going to wake up to that game because they're so busy with their jack off, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, talking about the distraction. And that's what this conversation is. It's the distraction. And, we'll get into Hillary Clinton's revelations from her speeches. Some of her excerpts of her speeches were leaked, which reveal everything we already know. We already know all this. Why was Hillary Clinton hiding her speeches and she wouldn't release them? Because she was kissing the asses of the Wall Street operatives who bribe her, who buy her. These corporations have given $150 million, these Wall Street banks, these fossil fuel companies, the big pharmaceutical companies, $150 million in personal speeches to the Clintons. That's just the private speaking fees. That's not the bribe they funneled through the Clinton Foundation so that they can do uranium deals or they can write the text of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. She is their puppet operative. I love it. The Nation came out the day. We're gonna have to see how we can hold her to account. Oh, Jesus Christ. Unreal. So, now the thing that they're doing, of course, is they're trying to say that they don't know whether the speech excerpts are real. They're real. WikiLeaks has 100% rating for accuracy. They do not release things that unless they are sure that they are real. So we know that the speeches are real. WikiLeaks is 100% accuracy rating. But the other thing they're doing it again. It's Russia. Don't you know it's Russia doing it? Now, of course, that again is trying to make it about the source rather than the content. And we don't know the source, even though this is you know what I found the most disturbing today was this statement on October 7th, 2016. Because the joint statement from the Department of Homeland Security and Office of the Director of National Intelligence on Election Security. Is that a new thing? The Director of National Intelligence on Election Security? When did that form? I just read that. I got to look that up now. I think that's new. I think we have a new Director of National Intelligence on Election Security. Director of National Intelligence. Oh my God. Anyways, this is their big statement. Note they offer no evidence, tangible proof. They make this statement based on circumstantial, non-related evidence to claim that Russia is behind this. And again, they recite again that Russia is going to try to interfere with our elections. This is chilling. This is the big story out of all this, but this isn't even going to be reported. The U.S. intelligence community is confident that the Russian government directed the recent compromise of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations. The recent disclosure of alleged hacked emails on sites like DCLeaks.com and WikiLeaks and by the Guccifer 2 online persona are consistent with the methods and motivations of Russian-directed efforts. These thefts and disclosures are intended to interfere with the U.S. election process. Such activity is not new to Moscow. The Russians have used similar tactics and techniques across Europe and Eurasia, for example, to influence public opinion there. We believe, now this is what it's based on. This is the thing you have to look at. We believe, based on the scope and sensitivity of these efforts, that only Russia's senior-most officials could have authorized these activities. In other words, they have no proof. Nothing they said there equates to evidence, tangible, objective evidence. Not a single thing in that statement. They are making inferences based on past actions by Russia that they're most likely making up, and they're saying that the methods are consistent with how Russia has acted. No proof, no proof, no proof, no proof. But this is what they're doing, and the reason I'm so upset about this is because we have the Department of Homeland Security reaching out to become involved in this election, cybersecurity oversight. Already 18 states have pulled them in. And it's not Russia. It's not Russia that's doing this. This is the United States government. This is the DNC. This is the political operatives that work for Clinton. This is the behind-the-scene power interests in the CIA and the NSA and the Department of Homeland Security who are working to make sure that Clinton is installed. And in order to do that, they have had to cheat. They had to rig the Democratic primary election. They had to purge voters off the rolls all over the country. They had to basically sell to the country the front runner who couldn't fill a broom closet. Well, Bernie Sanders filled stadiums to capacity with people on the outside that she won. You know what? I have an entire blog of the election fraud that occurred from state to state to state. Election fraud, 2016.wordpress.com. But all you need to know is to trust to your common sense and ability to think logically. If you look now, Hillary Clinton is getting people turning out in the dozens. The dozens. Bernie Sanders, since he started shilling for her and doing events to speak for her, he can't get more than 300 people in a room. The people did not elect Hillary Clinton. And so now we have all these cover-up operations and our entire government turning into this Orwellian fraud to try to sell to the American people that she won. And now they're blaming Russia again, with no evidence and no proof. And so this is from the Director of National Intelligence. The Director of National Intelligence, I just want to refer you to an article from Slate a while back. This is an article called "Fire James Clapper." The Director of National Intelligence lied to Congress about NSA surveillance. What else will he lie about? Well, apparently he will lie about Russia being the ones who are manipulating the U.S. elections when it is the operatives of Clinton. And let's just remember that everything that we are learning through these leaks shows the manipulations of the Clinton operatives and the DNC to skew election results. But they're not upset about the DNC or Clinton operatives skewing election results. They don't care two shits about the content, about how our elections are being manipulated, and the coordination between the corporate media and the political operatives to manipulate and play the American people for fools. They don't care about any of the actual real problems we faced in this election. They only care about developing this lie of a narrative, and that's all you're going to hear about on the corporate media, and it makes me want to puke. Russia did this. Trying to say that Russia hacked into Arizona, which was purged of Bernie Sanders voters. Bernie Sanders voters were the ones who weren't able to participate in Arizona, but Russia apparently hacked the voter registration rolls so Hillary Clinton could win? This is sick. It's sick, and it is so disturbing because what you're looking at here is you're looking at our government is gone. Our government now exists to prop up the interests of the billionaire, corporate rulers, and the military-industrial complex, and they are trying to do you look at what's going on. They have lost any ability to be reined in. We don't have any control. We can't vote them out. Our elections aren't real. Now these lunatics are courting actively conflict, making up lies again. All my videos have been about this constantly lately. Wanting to go into Syria on lies which will put us in direct conflict with Russia, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff chair, saying that will put us into war with Russia. But that's what these lunatics want to do. That's what these lunatics, that they're chomping at the bit for World War III, and we're having discussions about Donald Trump saying he can grab women's pussies. And Donald Trump isn't going to be allowed to win anyways, even if he does win. Because we don't have real elections, and Hillary Clinton is the choice. They don't want Donald Trump. They need somebody like Hillary Clinton because the American people won't stomach the horrible policies of war and corporate dominance and profiteering through Donald Trump and the Republicans. The American people push back. They wake up to it. They can't do what they need to do through Donald Trump. It's not that they would have any problem supporting Donald Trump. It's not like they have a moral issue with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with that. They need whoever will be the more effective evil. And the more effective evil, it's pragmatic. The more effective evil, Hillary Clinton. You have people who will defend and argue for supporting in Hillary Clinton the exact same betrayals and behavior that they would protest and be enraged about in Republicans. So of course they want that. Do they want people who the American people are gonna actually oppose? Or do they want the people that the American people will defend as they do the exact same things as the people that they say they oppose? It's ridiculous. The game has become so obvious and so played out, and we still do it. We still do it. I can't believe this is the kind of conversation that we are having. And I can't believe that there are so few people talking about this in a real way. The discussions we should be having right now are about the lies to get us into another unnecessary war of choice, or to expand another unnecessary war of choice into Syria. Because we're already at war in Syria. When you drop 20,000 bombs since January through August, you're already at war with Syria. It's about expanding the war in Syria. And that will bring us into conflict with Russia, could draw in Iran, that could draw in China, and welcome to World War III. So I think the pending actions that could lead to World War III should be the biggest story. And Donald Trump, vile. Donald Trump but he's a non-factor. He's not going to be installed because they need the effective evil to be installed, and that would be Hillary Clinton. Because people don't care that she has stood with policies that have been devastating to the most vulnerable women and children on the planet. They don't care about that. They don't care about what happened in Honduras and the people who were murdered as Hillary Clinton aided and abetted that legal coup. They don't care because the American people do not value the lives of people in Honduras, and they don't value the lives of people in Syria or the Middle East. So that doesn't matter. And it's all too abstract and complicated to comprehend, but they can comprehend the Donald Trump soundbite, which is why the media loves it. And you better believe that that little juicy tidbit was saved for a WikiLeaks so that the news could distract with it. So war with Syria should be the number one conversation we're having right now. The fact that we don't have real elections and that we have rigged, installed candidates for the president. The fact that Hillary Clinton didn't win the Democratic primary. That should be a major point of discussion. I don't want to get into talking about Bernie Sanders. I'm done with Bernie Sanders. When people say I'm harping on Bernie Sanders, I don't really care about Bernie Sanders anymore. My issue when I bring Bernie Sanders up is why I'm bringing it up right now, is the fact that when we have a fraudulent election, and Bernie Sanders didn't say anything about that fraudulent election, and now he is endorsing her, the reason I'm so frustrated is not because I'm not even vested in Bernie Sanders. I'm vested in being able to have conversations about truth so that we can move this country forward. And and with Bernie Sanders, all the work of the election integrity activist community was made so much harder with his endorsement of the candidate who was criminally installed against the American people's will. I'm not vested in the right, wrong of Bernie Sanders. I'm vested in the fact that now it's like we are trying so hard to change the discussion. People are working so hard to put this country on a different trajectory. And then we have the people who are supposed to be leaders throwing in with the lie. And we need honesty. We have got to get over ourselves and our collective denial. We desperately need the truth. The truth, this is corny, but it will set us free. We will not change this until the American people have the courage to look at the truth and to stop having these discussions that just go nowhere. And it's apparent to me that we're going to have to go to complete collapse before this changes. Because I see it everywhere with my family. I see it with my friends. They still want to support Hillary Clinton. They still want to support her. It doesn't matter what factual evidence. It doesn't matter if you can prove her deeds have exceeded the worst of Donald Trump's words. It doesn't matter. It's not logical. People do not deal in logic and rationality. I can talk all day and give you people the most sourced, objective evidence from progressive sources, and it will not make a dent. It will not make a dent because people support politicians on how they make them feel. And Hillary Clinton makes them feel better about things that they should be absolutely appalled about. And that is why Democrats are so dangerous. That is why they are so dangerous. Because you have all these progressives. I'm watching them fall one by one by one. All these progressives who will fight to defend Hillary Clinton. But if it was a Republican, if it was a Bush, if it was somebody with an R after their names, they would be stoning that person for the exact same thing that I'm telling them about in Hillary Clinton. What do you do with that? You can't reason. You can't take it rationally. My whole channel now has to become one about the psychology of what drives human beings and how we face our fears and stop talking about politics just only in the terms of issues, because it's getting us nowhere. It does, after a point, become preaching to the choir. It becomes preaching to the choir. So, we had all these revelations today. Here's a good summary of it from The Intercept. Excerpts of Hillary Clinton's paid speeches to Goldman Sachs finally leaked. I'll just give you some quotes from this. Now, this should just be a deal breaker. All of this should be a deal breaker. Will it be? Of course not. Of course not. Because Donald Trump said a horrendous thing, and that's what's going to be important. Clinton admits she is out of touch. Clinton says she needs to have a private, and this is my favorite. Clinton says you need to have a private and a public position on policy. That sums it up. That sums it up perfectly. That means you have to lie to the American people on where you really stand on policy to be able to manipulate them. And then in private, you say to your Wall Street backers and donors that you believe they should regulate themselves, which came out in these emails. She believes that the people who broke the economy and treated our economy like a casino that resulted in millions of people losing their homes, their jobs, and their savings should be able to continue to regulate themselves. But yeah, she's right. She believes they should write the laws, because that's what politicians do. They write the laws for their donors. And who are their donors? Wall Street interests, big banks, the pharmaceutical companies, the healthcare industry, and the war industry. And so their lobbyists write the laws. But you need to have a public position of bullshit and a private position of where you really stand. And the American people will still support her after they know that she said this. That I'm going to lie blatantly to their faces and manipulate them and play them for fools, but represent you, because as long as I say the right things and make them feel okay about it and you have the right public position, they'll stay in line. How long are we going to be played for total and complete fools? How long before you're like, I'm not giving my power to somebody who would have that kind of disrespect? Basically saying, I need to lie to them publicly. I need to lie to them. I gotta support that because that's a lesser of two evils. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. There's more in here. It goes on and on. There's just different quotes. Clinton said she was kind of far removed because of the life and the economic, fortunes that my husband and I now enjoy. Go to WikiLeaks. Go to WikiLeaks and read. Read about all of the vile things that Hillary Clinton said, but there's nothing really new here. There's nothing new here. We know Hillary Clinton is a puppet operative of Wall Street. You know that because of the policies that she's supported. You know that because she went around the world as an operative for the Trans-Pacific Partnership, working on it since 2009 behind the backs of the American people, while she funneled millions basically in bribes through the Clinton Foundation, through all of the corporations who are going to make out like bandits and expand their profit and power through the text of the treaties that their lobbyists wrote behind our backs. And it says right here, Clinton's remarks are pro-Keystone and pro-TPP. Of course they are. Her position is whatever that the Wall Street and billionaire class military industrial donors need it to be. That's who she is. She's their puppet. She's their puppet. And as long as the American people will accept puppet operatives of policy of oppression and that result in our economic ruin and result in our country committing atrocities and murders on lies all over the globe, this is what we're going to have, and it's exactly what we deserve. If you're going to give up your power to that, your vote to that, if you are going to do that because it makes you feel comfortable, it makes you feel like there's somewhere to run, you're getting exactly what you deserve. You're getting exactly what you deserve. It's been said, and again, the American people will get the politicians they deserve. And we don't have it. We don't have the stomach for it in America to truly hold our politicians to account. I saw that when I had the gall to point out the detrimental consequences of Bernie Sanders endorsing Hillary Clinton for the presidency. I love Bernie Sanders. I don't care if you love Bernie Sanders or not. And I really don't care about Bernie Sanders. I care about the actions of the politicians and where they lead the people in this country. So if you're going to endorse a candidate who was just fraudulently installed against you, it's harmful to the people. It's harmful to our objectives as a movement. It kills the movement. But we can't even hold our own politicians to account because we're emotionally attached to them. When I was talking about the consequences of the behavior that Sanders did, it wasn't to attack Sanders. It wasn't to personally bash Sanders or care about him as a savior. I'm not vested in him. I'm vested in that it goes so much further beyond that. It goes into the fact that you have to be able to hold people accountable. And if you can't hold your own politicians accountable because you like them, then you can't do anything. And we couldn't even practice, if you can't practice citizens' oversight over the politicians that you support, you're done. You're done. You cannot be emotionally invested in politicians. And I don't even want to talk about Bernie Sanders. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because it gets into how we practice oversight as citizens. And we don't have the stomach for it. We don't have the stomach for it. The majority of people will not criticize the actions of Sanders, even though it was harmful to us. Doesn't mean you hate Sanders as a person. Doesn't mean you can't respect a million things he's done. And I gotta say this again, I'm not bringing this conversation up to even talk about Sanders. It's more of an example of the fact that we cannot hold our politicians to account. And he is the most recent example of it. And the behavior he has exhibited has been hugely harmful to us actually moving forward as a movement. Because what happened after that? What happened after that? We imploded. The whole thing imploded. The whole thing imploded. He got behind the very corporate candidate that is going to lead us into more ruin. And put a happy face on it. He put a happy face on it. So when you're supporting Hillary Clinton, you're not supporting Hillary Clinton anyways. Because she's the puppet. So if you're supporting the people that she truly works for, the very interests that he told us to fight for a year. Oh my God, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And what would have happened if Bernie Sanders walked the walk and endorsed Jill Stein? It would have given us a true alternative to this two-party, one-party corporate system and state. And I'm not even care about the right or wrongs or whether he was threatened or what. That's not what this is about. This is about talking about how we got here and why we are in such a horrible state right now. We have no leadership. We have about 5 people on social media with small viewership speaking the truth. We lost the Young Turks. The Young Turks are now mimicking the corporate media that they wanted to replace. We got Jimmy Dore. That's it. You got Jimmy Dore we lost social media, our largest alternative voice on social media. And you got, what have we got? We got 4 or 5 people speaking truth to 300 million people. 27,000 views. But I look at this channel as trying to just reach out and create seeds, which will be the future change. So I know this is a rambling video. I don't have any real great words of wisdom, because the fact is that these leaks, as offensive as they are with Hillary Clinton and what she really said to Wall Street behind closed doors, this is what we knew she said anyways. And Donald Trump saying a vulgar, vile thing like that, is anybody surprised? Anybody? Anybody surprised? This is all known. This is who these people are. They're vile. But you have the American people fighting to talk about which one is going to be better. It's insane. This country has gone cuckoo birds doozy bot nuts when it comes to how we're talking around politics. And then if you actually try to talk about the reality of what we're actually facing, you're the crazy one. So, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm running out of things to say. We don't have real elections. We have no choice in this election. It's not real. Hillary Clinton is going to be installed. And the people who rule are going to continue to screw us over. And the only way that changes is when the American people refuse to tolerate it through any politician, and stop allowing themselves to be manipulated and played for total fools. And the liberals have got to end their total hypocrisy about supporting in Hillary Clinton what they say offends them in Republicans. We are hypocrites. We are a nation of hypocrites. We're a nation of friggin' cowards. We don't even know how to stand up to people who abuse us. We have been so cowed. And we have a huge day of reckoning coming. We have a huge day of reckoning. I'm not going to talk in politics about happy horse shit. I'm not going to pretend that there's going to be some kumbaya moment. Right now, the media and the pollsters are all pretending that Jill Stein is polling at 1%. That's a lie. Jill Stein gets bigger crowds at her events than Hillary Clinton does. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. But, you know, it's like we had the whole seeds of a progressive movement in the palm of our hands under the Bernie Sanders candidacy, which was dashed because they thieved it. And now we've lost our leadership, and we've lost even a cohesive discussion about what to do for the future. So at this point, the situation as it actually stands is this. We have a very small portion of the American people who are awake, who understand actually what is happening. There's a lot of people who want the country to change trajectory. And that's why you had so much support for Bernie Sanders. But the percentage of people who actually understand the depth of how much our government has turned against us, the fact that the elections are not real, the fact that we are not heroes but we go to war on lies, the fact that the corruption is so deep, and that Hillary Clinton is truly just the same thing as the Republicans and the Democrats are. That percentage is so much smaller. It's so much smaller. And so that's what you got. I think maybe you got 1 in 1,000 people right now who actually see it for what it really is. Not that you have more people than that who don't like the trajectory of the country, don't like Hillary Clinton, but you maybe have 1 in 1,000 people who are ready to stand up and push back. It's not enough. It's not enough. And so how is that going to change? Well, we can spread the message and we can talk, and we can do that. But you know what's going to take? It's going to take crisis. It's going to take an economic meltdown. It's going to take war on our own soil. It's going to take blowback on our own soil that's real, and not these false flag terrorist attacks that our own government uses to control us, to keep supporting a war on lies and keep us afraid of the boogeyman. It's going to take real consequences. It's going to take real loss. It's going to take flints in all 50 states and half the counties in all 50 states with our drinking water. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. It's going, Amaju Baraka says this. It's going to have, he says it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And that is what we need to prepare for. And so I think in terms of what we can do is we can talk to everybody we can about what the truth is. But we just need to be talking about how we are going to be dealing with that struggle and how we are going to be facing those hard times. And I'm not saying that to be pessimistic, because you know what? At this point, I'm like, let it fall apart so we can rebuild again. Let it fall. Let this insanity, let the delusions go away until people can stop fooling themselves and they can stay. They're holding on to comfort until they have the ground collapsing under their own feet. It's not going to change. It's not, because we're not fighting politics. We're not fighting Republicans or Democrats. We're not fighting corporations and the media. We're fighting human nature. We're fighting human nature. And that is what we are going to have to face. People do not want to hear what we have to say, because what we have to say maybe is hard and it requires things that they don't want to do. And so the only way people are going to have the motivations for that change is when it really costs them and they have severe skin in the game. Reason that we go along with these endless wars on lies. Why? We don't have a draft anymore. They don't take our children. There is no human consequence to us except for the military families and the people subjected to an economic draft. You know, I know people a lot of times on here criticize the soldiers because they're going along and they are perpetuating policies of the atrocities of what our government is doing. They're also, a lot of these people, subject to an economic draft, and they have nowhere else to go. That is who our army is composed of. People who don't have other options, who don't have, they're trying to be able to pay for college. They're trying to have some kind of life. They join the military. So those are the people who are economically drafted. So I'm not going to sit here and stone our soldiers. I'm not saying that every individual doesn't bear the responsibility for the choices that they make, but I try to remember the desperation that drives people to making those choices. It's just like people over in other countries who decide, you know why a lot of people join the terrorist groups over in other countries? It's not because they believe in the cause. It's because the terrorist group will pay them and they have to feed their children. So, I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. I just know, as I spend a lot of time trying to think in terms of talking about politics in a way that's going to change the way that we discuss the political narrative. And if we all of the seeds of all, because we're not very big in numbers in terms of, as a whole, to be challenging how things operate right now. But we do have a power that we need to understand, and that is we have the power to change narratives. And, there are enough of us speaking out with a voice of sanity and a voice of truth that can change the collective perception. So we have that. But anyways, I guess that's all I have to say today. There's nothing new in these leaks. There's absolutely nothing new in these leaks. It's just an expansion of the ugliness. it should be deal breakers for either candidate. Both candidates should have a 0% approval rating. Both candidates should be protested wherever they go. And the American people should be rejecting this insanity. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in time for this election. The silver lining, I think, of a Hillary Clinton presidency when she is installed, every cloud has a silver lining, right? It's true. Every cloud does have a silver lining. So I will leave you with this. Hillary Clinton's installation into the presidency will be the feather in the cap, the coup of the military industrial profiteers and the corporate billionaires alike who want to make this world into one of global enslavement to the wealth and one of endless war for profit. So Hillary Clinton's policies are going to reflect that reality. I don't even see Hillary Clinton having the wisdom to throw us enough crumbs to keep public opinion at bay. That's what I see. It's going to be hubris and overreach, and they're not going to learn the lesson of past empires. The fact that they got her installed fraudulently will empower them to continue and expand their corruption until it basically implodes our government. And right now, that is really the best thing that could happen, because we have got to have something that breaks this system of deception and lies. So I think with Hillary Clinton, the game of Democratic good cop to the Republican bad cop will finally come to an end. But the problem with that is going to be, at that point, they're going to seize so much power. They're going to have taken over our elections to a point, and put the Department of Homeland Security in charge, and that we are going to then be faced with how we wrest power back from an empirical government that does not serve its people, but rather seeks to control and spy on them and oppress people. We are living in 1984. It's here. It's here. It's just when it gets so bad that the American people can no longer pretend it isn't. All right, everybody. I'm sorry that was a bit of a rambling video, but I don't know how you put a good spin on this, and I don't have any desire to do that. It's, we're going to have to face what we're going to have to face. And the more that we can just deal with the fact that we're going to have to face it with courage and truth, the better off we're going to be. I love you all. I wish things were different. Peace out, everybody.